We're just gonna enjoy the day in the sun and have a really great motor.
Pretty much millions of Americans waking up and starting their week off with a severe weather threat.
To pick up from the last video, we are anchored in North Lake where we saw dolphins in the morning and had blue skies. I'm the captain today, and we are heading 11 nautical miles back to our slip through 7 drawbridges. Today, the winds were up to 18 knots and a storm was heading our way.
There we go. Danielle just took us off our anchor and now she's driving us back to our slip.
Us captaining this boat at sea, right here.
We're just passing Port Everglades. And there's some clouds coming from over there, so we might get wet in a minute.
Well, it was such a beautiful day, and now it is pouring rain. Oh my gosh. Even with having this home station cover, my legs are just soaking wet from the wind blowing the rain sideways and from behind and everything. So now we are in our rain jackets.
We saw this yacht transport freighter coming in the other day. It actually sinks down and then you drive the yachts onto the boat and it raises back up and transports your boat.
The captain's getting wet.
We think that spring break is about to start. People have come down to Florida ahead of the break. The rain started just before sunrise and later became a heavy, steady downpour that's part of that massive triple threat megastorm everyone's tracking. It's wild to think this same system is stretching all the way from Texas to New York right now, and it lasted about a week.
Woke up to a little bit of a leaky hatch on my side of the bed, so time to dry it out.
What exactly are we working on Queen Bea? Good question. Here's a short list of what we are doing this week. These were the high priority items such as getting Starlink mounted and on DC, making sure our water maker is working before we leave. Right now we have been drinking bottled water, and have you seen the canal we're in? I will show you the black water in a moment. Also, we plan to be anchored a lot in the Bahamas, so without a working dinghy, that will be an issue, getting ourselves to shore. Not having enough power is a big concern of ours, so Phil is installing 12-volt outlets and converting things to DC power. I will show you more of our projects next.
Good morning. I just had another cold shower because this boat is a European boat and was running on 220, but everything has been converted to 120 except for the hot water heater. So Phil ordered a replacement for that. We can have hot showers when the engine's going. When we're docked, then we are on cold water showers, which honestly isn't so bad because it's so hot that once you kind of get used to it, it's fine. But we have made a little bit of progress. Phil's super excited. We were told that the carburetor was brand new for the dinghy outboard, and he's been troubleshooting for a couple of days now. And he said that all of this gunk just came out of the carburetor. So he's very hopeful that that's maybe the problem and that this outboard motor will start working very soon.
Phil successfully got the dinghy engine going. Besides cleaning the carburetor, he changed out the fuel lines and the pump.
Okay, welcome to Phil's Handyman Corner. So these cabinets and drawers make a lot of noise when you open and close them, so that annoyed Danielle. So my solution was to 3D print this little clip. You can see this little latch here. That's the culprit. That's what's making so much noise. So I take the screw out. Put the latch over. And then when we're at anchor and we don't need the latch, it just simply flips out of the way. And it's nice and quiet. And then when we're underway, flip it back. And then it's loud and annoying again.
So it doesn't swing on passage.
That's it. Thanks for watching Phil's Handyman Corner.
We needed to find a way to test the water maker before we were underway with Phil's parents on board, because if it wasn't working or needing parts, we were out of luck while in the Bahamas for a few weeks. At least, we think we would have been out of luck. The canal water at our boat slip is almost black, so Phil came up with the idea to fill water jugs with beach water and feed that water to the water maker for testing.
While Phil is tasked with doing all the handyman work and maintenance and upgrades on the boat, part of what I'm in charge of is going through this Bahamas waterway book that was designed for cruisers, everything you need to know about going to the Bahamas and getting there from the US. So one of the things that it says is that the food and like provisioning everything in the Bahamas is incredibly expensive. They don't farm any of their own stuff. So literally everything is imported in by, ships and planes. So you are paying the premium for all of that food, even your toiletries and everything. So it's advised to buy all of your items in the US or just wherever you are before you get to the Bahamas. And that's what I've been working on. I've been unsure how to go about planning for 4 adults for, say, 3 weeks a month in the Bahamas for our meal planning. I put together a meal plan so that everyone on board knows what we are planning on having for meals each day. It also helps, rotate the cooking so that everyone knows what we're making, how to make it. And from there, I was able to build my provisioning list and how many items I would need in order to make each of these meals. And I had a spreadsheet that I was going through, adding up how many loaves of bread, hot dog buns, all that stuff, how many pounds of ground beef, and the chicken and the fish and everything. Although, let me just say, we're only getting fish sticks to start because in the Bahamas, that is one thing that maybe we'll try to buy there is the seafood. And we can get into it later, but we probably aren't fishing this time around. Next time we go to the Bahamas next season, then we for sure are going to be fishing, but probably not this time around. So that's how I built my provisioning list, everything that I needed to buy. And I have been going to the store, a few times a week to slowly build our inventory for the boat. I didn't know how much we could actually fit. We have to put everything under the settees and under the beds. That's where the storage is. So all of your canned goods and your pastas and all that stuff. And same with the meats for the freezer. I don't know how much is going to fit in our 50-liter freezer. So I'm just doing it slowly, day by day.
It's time to talk about bugs on a boat in the tropics. As we're from Canada, bugs in our food wasn't something we thought much about. But now we have to do everything we can ahead of time and ensure the right preparation is in place to mainly avoid 2 huge culprits that can arrive in our food and packaging. The first are weevils. Weevils are often found in rice, cereal, flour, sugar, and the sorts. They lay eggs and kernels during harvesting or storage. So the food has the larvae before you even buy it. These larvae hatch, feed on the food, and emerge as adults. Second are cockroaches. They thrive in tropical climates and like warm, dark, and moist places. Cockroaches lay eggs under labels and hitchhike rides to your boat via cardboard, packaging, plastic wrap, grocery bags, etc. And if you do end up getting bugs on board, they can quickly spread through your food reserves, making the infestation dreadful to deal with. Best practices and what other sailors will tell you to do to mitigate bugs on board in the tropics are to remove all labels from canned goods, wash them down, as well as to get rid of all cardboard packaging. For weevils, we freeze all rice, pasta, flour, sugar for 3 days to 1 week upon purchasing. It kills the larvae. Look who we ran into on the water, our neighbor Eric. It turns out that his battery died because it wasn't big enough to get him all the way out of the canals. He plans to get it running again and then teach himself how to sail. Within 1 week, he has a $100 bet with a friend that he can do it. He hasn't returned back to the boat slip, although he has messaged us that he's having a great time on his boat. If you want to be notified for the next episode, make sure to hit subscribe and click the bell icon for notifications. It's free to subscribe. The next videos will be a boat tour and our navigational planning for Miami and the Bahamas.